Alright, so I gotta finish telling you guys these crazy stories. I forget exactly what happened the next day, but I'm pretty sure my mom either called her doctor or went to the doctor, and the doctor told her to go to the hospital. And my mom, God rest your soul, Mom, I wanted to kill her sometimes, really. She was so resistant to shit sometimes and so, like, stubborn, and I would have to yell at her, and I felt so bad, like, being mean to her, but I was like, Mom, you gotta start listening. And I would tell her too, I'm like, you know, Mom, it really upsets me that you don't take care of yourself. When my mom was in the hospital, like, I was always the one to take care of whatever she needed at home. Well, for instance, I had to take care of her dogs, I had to, you know, she needed more clothes and stuff from the hospital, like if she needed me to get anything, like a brush or, you know, her toothpaste or something, I would be the one who was always running back and forth to her house. So my mom, now I have to bring her to the hospital. It ends up, she's like severely anemic. During this hospital stay, I find out that her cancer had spread to her stomach, which now I know, like, this is not good. She ended up being in the hospital for an entire month at this point in time. An entire month. After she had that surgery, her transplanted kidney, just like, it never went back to normal after that. It just got worse and worse. And I could tell she was going through kidney failure. She was in total denial about it. But my mom ended up back in the hospital now. It's August 1st. Of course, I bring her there. I sit in the emergency room with her. I remember feeling so bad that time because the emergency room was like fucking packed out. She was in the emergency room for 48 hours, over 48 hours. And she was so uncomfortable. They didn't even have like rooms left, like little stations. She was in a hallway next to a fucking bathroom for 2 days straight. I forget why they kept her so long. There was something going on where she had, it was something with her blood. They had to do a procedure too, and that was like scary. They had to put this thing called a holy shit, I'm like having total brain fart right now. What the fuck is that thing called? Wow. They had to put this thing in her arm. Not really put a thing. It's what they do, and this like makes me want to faint. I cringe every time I think about it. They take like a vein and they like connect it to an artery, and then they make it like a super vein. You can feel it like pulsating in the arm, and that's used for dialysis, okay? So they were like prepping her for dialysis. That was one of the things that went on, and in order to do that, they had to get her off the blood thinner, and then they had to put her back on the blood thinner, and that took a while for the levels to get adjusted in her blood to where they could let her go, and she could take like a pill or an injection or something like that. Prior to her going into the hospital, a couple of days before, her fucking air conditioner breaks. My mom didn't have like central air. Her house wasn't that big. She lived in like a ranch, so she had one big unit that was in the den, and that kind of like, you know, cooled like most of her house, really. Then she had like small window units in other rooms, right? So I think she had like 3 in total. Main part of her house where she would hang out, that air conditioner broke. While she's in the hospital, I'm like, let me go get you, we'll go get you a new air conditioner, because we're not thinking she's going to be there for an entire month, you know? So my husband and I, we go to her house, we pick her truck up, because at that time, neither one of us had trucks. We both had cars. We go to PC Richards, like electronics store. We go pick the air conditioner up. We come back. We take her old air conditioning out, we put the new air conditioner in, blah, blah, blah. I forgot to add this, and it's very relevant to the story. I took the receipt from the air conditioner, and I put it on her kitchen counter next to her coffee maker. And you'll see why this is relevant in a little bit. My mom has this neighbor that, thank God, she has this neighbor, Kara. Kara lived across the street for 10 years. And it ends up, Kara watches dogs for a living. My mom, where she lived, she was fucking blessed with the best neighbors like you could ask for. We always had good neighbors, thank God. We're across the street, Jeannie, she would do the injections for the blood thinner for my mom. Kara lived on across the street diagonally, and I met her a while ago. She watched my dog, and then she would watch my mom's dog, like if my mom would take like a trip or whatever, and she always kept in contact with me. If my mom wasn't around, if she needed anything, she'd always call me up. I ended up like developing a friendship with her over time. My mom just had the best neighbors. Everybody helped out. Like they knew she was sick, so they all watched out for her and helped out. We were next door, the son. He is a prime example of what I would want my son to be. He is the Like, he loves his mother and is over there helping her. We used to, like, talk over the fence because we'd be like, oh my God, yeah, you're over helping your mom? Yeah, me too, you know? Like, he's always over there. That's what a son should do. My husband did all the things that a son should do for their mother. He did them for my mother. So Kara, across the street, is like watching my mom's dogs. Thank God, taking care of the dogs, because I did not need another thing on my plate. So she would come over, and so, you know, me and her started becoming friendly. I had her phone number, so I would text her if she needed anything. If you need food for the dogs or you run out of something, just let me know, and I'll come bring it for you. So, you know, her and I started getting friendly as this was all going on. We got, like, closer, you know. Like, I knew her before then, but I started getting closer with her as all this shit was going on. And she was like a fucking angel, okay? Somebody sent an angel down for me to be there, because this woman, you'll hear, she just made my life that much less hard. So Carrie used to come over and take care of the dogs and feed them and whatever, let them out and all that. I don't even know why I'm telling you guys that part yet, because it doesn't matter. Conditioner, fine. I told her, you know, I left the air conditioner on. My husband and I leave. We're back and forth. We were taking care of my mom's pool while she was in the hospital. My brother and his wife were coming to visit her in the hospital more, because now she was in the hospital. Every other time she was in the hospital, she would go to like a hospital that was like, you know, kind of far from where we lived. And I have a really good hospital about 4 miles away from my house. It's like one of the best hospitals on Long Island. The time my brother signed her out from the emergency room, the doctor like didn't know what to do, because her situation was so unique with all the medication she was on and the kidney transplant and the cancer and this and that. Like, he didn't know what to do with her situation. Like, those smaller hospitals just weren't equipped to deal with what her situation was. This is a university hospital where there's, you know, state-of-the-art facility, and they do transplants there, so it's a better, you know, suited hospital for her needs. So we brought her there. So that was nice, because the hospital is like 5 miles away from my house, so I could just get there and, you know, be there in 5 minutes. All right, so she was in that hospital, right, that whole month. Couple of weeks go by. My girlfriend was here. My girlfriend Tommy lives in Maryland. We've been best friends since we were like little kids, okay? I hadn't seen her in like a year, you know, because my mom was sick, we don't get together, she lives out of state, whatever. Her and her husband were coming in to New York. They were going to be staying in Manhattan. You know, she's like, do you want to come meet us in the city? So I tell my mom, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, Tommy's coming. My mom's like, just go, Liana, you know, you need a break. So I thought she was getting out of the hospital the next day, but, you know, they were going to release her. My mom's like, don't worry, Liana, your brother will pick me up. So I was like, all right. I said, I'm going to bring some of your stuff home. This way he doesn't have that much stuff to carry. So I grabbed a couple of pairs of pajamas, which I needed to be washed anyway, and I went to her house that night. I said, I'll leave them at your house. She had like one of those backpack pocketbooks, like this, you know, it's like a school bag. And when you go to the city, like, you don't want to be carrying a bag because it's a pain in the ass. So I was like, can I borrow a pocketbook? So she's like, yeah. So she tells me it's either in my old bedroom in the closet or in her bedroom in the closet. She told me where to look and everything. And like, my mom and me, like, this is a normal thing. We always traded shit. Oh, can I borrow this ring? And you could have this ring. Like, we couldn't fit into each other's clothes or shoes, so we used to like trade jewelry and pocketbooks and shit, right? So I go to her house. I walked into my old bedroom because she told me that the pocketbook might be in the closet in my old bedroom. So I go in there and I walked in and there was this thing, and I'll show you guys a picture. Okay, first off, the room was a fucking mess. I didn't leave it like that. We were there the day before and I cleaned up after my son. So I come back, the room's a fucking mess, and that little thing that's circled over there to the right, that thing is usually where that arrow is pointing. That's where it usually sat, and that's where I thought I put it the day before. Right behind that spot is a safe. My mom's safe is right there. So while I'm there that day, I was like, let me clean it up again. Maybe I forgot. So I moved that little barrel thing back to where that arrow is, where it normally sits. All right, you see that little barrel thing? That thing was moved all the way across the room in a different spot. And I'm like, how did this thing get over here? Now, where that thing normally is, my mom had a little safe. when I was younger, my dad used to own a store, and my mom had, like, nice jewelry and shit. They bought, like, this safe. Like, it's a decent-sized safe. Me and my husband were at the house the day before, and I remember that in my head, I cleaned up. My son went in my old bedroom. He played with some of the toys, but I specifically remembered cleaning everything up because I was like, oh, I don't want her to come home and there's a mess, you know? So I remember I cleaned up in the room. But whatever. I look in my mom's closet. I look in my closet. I can't find the pocketbook. So I was just like, I took a different one. I go to the city with my girlfriend. So I felt bad that day. I just felt like I shouldn't be in the city. But I still had fun with my friends. You know, we hung out. We had a good time. But anyway, okay. So I go home. The day after I go to the city, my brother calls me up. It was so weird. He never called me. I had not spoken on the phone with him since my birthday, which is in March. So now we're in August, and all of a sudden you're calling me, and he's like, oh, what are you doing? Are you going to the hospital? And he's like asking me all these questions, and I thought it was weird when he called me. Like, normally, even if he was going to communicate with me, which we barely communicated, he would, like, text me. Why all of a sudden is he calling me? It was almost like he was trying to figure out, like, where I was going to be that day. And I remember hanging up with him that day and thinking, you know, that was weird that, like, he called me. Like, he hasn't called me in months. Why all of a sudden is he calling me and wants to know what I'm doing? And if I'm going to the hospital. My mom had already been in the hospital for, like, 2.5 weeks at this point in time. So I'm like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. So then my mom tells me on the phone, she was like, you know, your brother called me and, like, him and, like, Satan, like, really wanted to go to my house. Asking me if I needed anything. And I kept telling them no. Leanna's gonna go. I had to go get something anyway. I don't know if it was like her glasses or something. She needed something. It might have been like underwear or something. She didn't want my brother getting her underwear for her. Like, that's so weird. So she wanted me to go. So she kept telling them, no, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. And my mom said to me, and I specifically remember her saying that they were, like, insisting on going to her house. And she's like, it was really weird. My mom was very suspicious of them. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, Ma, that doesn't sound right. Like, why do they want to go to the house so bad? I go to the hospital that night, and then Satan comes in with my brother, and I'm like, ugh. Like, every time she came in, I just felt like somebody sucked the fucking life out of me. Like, it was just like, oh. Just, like, to listen to this fucking girl talk, it's so annoying. It's just so, I can't. It's just so much. Everybody used to get annoyed by it. It wasn't just me. My mom used to get annoyed. My mom used to be like, oh my God, I hope she's not coming here tonight. Like, you seriously feel like you need a fucking lobotomy after this girl leaves, because your brain is just like, yeah, I don't know how my brother fucking lives with this girl. I just can't even imagine being married to somebody like this, or even having to, like, work with them or fucking look at them for more than 5 minutes. I just can't. She just grinds my nerves. Do you guys get the point? They come up to the hospital, and they have this whole story, and she does all the talking. And at that point in time, my mom had even said to me, let me back this up again, my mom even said to me, she's like, I don't even talk to your brother anymore. She's like, he doesn't call me. She does all the talking. She calls my mom up. She texts my mom. She tells my mom when they're coming over. She's the one now doing all the talking to my mom. And my mom never talks to my brother anymore. He don't call her anymore. It all goes through Satan. Everything. So weird. So they come up, they have this whole story. She's like, oh, you know, we went to your house today, and we did this, and we did this. Says that they went to the house. I can't, it's too much to do it in her voice. They went to her house. She's like, oh, we did laundry. We went over there, and we did your laundry. We washed your pajamas. Meanwhile, let me just tell you guys, there wasn't even enough to put a full load of laundry in there. I brought home 3 pairs of pajamas. Summer pajamas, too, like they're light. They put the 3 pairs of pajamas in the laundry, put them in the washing machine, and she's like, oh, you know, the baby was in the room, and the baby's blah, 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 blah. And then she said that, oh, we had to leave, and my brother needed to get a haircut, and then blah, 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 blah. Their story to my mom was that they went there to put her clothes in the wash so that she had clean pajamas, because we thought she was coming home, but now we ended up finding out she's probably going to stay for like another couple of days or a week. So she needed the clothes back, the pajamas back. So they're like, yeah, we went there to go wash the pajamas. Okay, great. Here's the problem. They put the pajamas in the wash, right? And then they put them in the dryer, but they didn't stay until the dryer was done. So why would you even go there? She's saying my brother had to go get a haircut, so they left. And she's like, oh, the haircut took 2 hours, and blah, 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 blah. And she has this whole story. Oh, my God. Help me. she has this whole story about the, haircut, and it took 2 hours, and her and the baby were in the car, and blah. Now, I don't know if my brother still gets his haircut at the same place, but he used to go to this barber shop that was like less than a mile away from my mom's house. So I'm thinking, like, if he was in the barber shop waiting for 2 hours, why wouldn't you drive back to my mom's house and get the pajamas? Because they had to be dry by then if you were sitting there for 2 hours, right? No. Instead, they go to Target and they buy her one new pair of pajamas. This does not make any sense. So as they're there, and I'm sitting there in my mom's room, I get a text from my girlfriend Kara, who's taking care of my mom's dogs at the house. She's like, somebody was in your mom's house and they went through all the mail. Like, every piece of mail on the table is gone. Now, mind you guys, my mom was in the hospital for 3 weeks at this time. 3 weeks. So there was 3 weeks worth of mail on her table. Newspapers, mail, all the shit. So it's not like it was a mess, but there was a pile. I mean, there was a pretty substantial pile. Mom also had papers on her stove. They were all financial documents. So they had like her bank statements. She had some medical stuff up there. And then my mom had money in these like investment accounts, and the statements were up there. And she said all that shit was gone through. I knew that shit was gone through because she had cancer insurance. So I had to send a claim in for her while she was in the hospital. I knew that I put the paper back, and when I put it back, I put a pen on top of it. And when I went back, the pen, everything was moved. My windows are dirty, huh? So I'm reading this text, and she's like, everything's moved around and this and that. So I'm like sitting there. These two are fucking nonstop talking, right? So I was like, I wanted to go to the house before they had a chance to go back there and cover their tracks up. I'm reading the text. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Ma, I gotta go. I made up some excuse, and I just left. I left. Now, this is a big hospital, so I had to go down the elevator. She was on like the 15th floor. So I had to go down the elevator. The fucking parking garage is a walk. It's a little bit far away. I get in my car. All of a sudden, my phone's ringing. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, aren't they still up there? Because they were only there for like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. My mom calls me up. She's like, they left already. I'm like, what? I'm like, they left? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, why would they leave all of a sudden? She's like, not even a minute after you left, they were like, all right, we gotta go. So they weren't even there for like 10 minutes. The whole thing was so weird. PU. Something stunk, okay? There was something up. Like, I fucking, like, hightailed it to my mom's house. I'm on the phone with my husband. I'm like, yo, what the fuck are these assholes doing? They never went to my mom's house. You guys don't understand. They never went to my mom's house, ever, by themselves, to go do anything. You know how many times she had been in the hospital that year? They never went to her house. Now, all of a sudden, she's in the hospital for 3 weeks. It's not looking good. We know her cancer's spreading, and they're at her house. And I don't get it. Why all of a sudden do you want to do her laundry? And then you say that you're going there to do laundry, but you leave the fucking laundry there, and then you go buy her a new pair of pajamas. That just blew your whole story. And, like, I have to imagine that his wife thinks of these things. My brother's not that dumb. Like, that's a dumb story, and he knows that, like, we're a little bit smarter than that. Like, my mom, you might be able to get things by, but you know me. You're not getting anything past me. It ain't fucking happening. So I hightail it the fuck to my mom's house. My girlfriend's over there. She comes back in because she's, like, letting the dogs out for the last time that night. So I get to the house, and I'm looking around. There's no mail. Like, it was reduced to a little tiny pile, like, this big. Who the fuck went through all this mail, right? I look around the house. I'm like, what are these people doing? Are they going through things? Like, what are they doing? I don't understand. Why would you go to my mom's house, say you're doing her laundry, open all her fucking mail? My mom did all her bills online, and she did them in the hospital because she had her iPad. I brought her her iPad so she could do her bills. So I knew her bills were done, so I'm like, why are they going through her mail? It just doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. Because my mom would ask me, oh, Leanna, could you do this? Could you get that? So I knew, like, what was going on. I don't know if they realize this. This is fucking weird. I go in my old bedroom, and now I know that the last time I was at her house and I was getting that pocketbook, I took that barrel thing because I thought maybe my son left it out. Maybe he moved it. So I picked it up and I put it back where it belonged, right in front of my mom's safe. I go back that night, the fucking thing is moved again. And I'm like, all right, How did that thing move? The next day, I called my mom up, and I'm like, Mom, I'm a little weirded out. Why did they go to your house all of a sudden? Like, what's with the interest in your house? She's like, yeah, Satan said she opened all the mail. And I'm like, how does this girl who barely talked to you for the last 2 years, right? You just kind of started getting comfortable with her, like, a couple of months ago. And now all of a sudden she feels comfortable enough to go through your fucking mail? So my mom was like, it is weird. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, that makes me uncomfortable. I wouldn't even open my mom's mail. And I know my brother wouldn't do it. He's so like doo-doo-doo. Like, I don't think he would ever even think to do that. I just don't even think he would have the interest to look through somebody else's shit. Like, that's just not who he is. So I left that night and I went home and I'm talking to my husband and I'm like, dude, I told him that thing was moved. I'm like, they moved this thing away from the safe. I just got this weird feeling in my head that they were going through my mom's safe. I go back the next day and I'm like, I'm going to open the safe. I want to see if they're in there. What if they're taking her jewelry and shit? I don't know. We all used this safe. Like, when we lived at home, we all had the combination. We knew where it was. My mom had it hidden in this Bible that was on the bookshelf. What are they looking for in her house? Like, what's going on? What are they doing? Of course, my mind goes to, like, they take her will. Like, what the fuck is going on, Me and my husband are, like, conspiracy theorists over here. We got our tinfoil hats on. It's just weird. These people had no interest in this woman, no interest in helping her, and then all of a sudden they're at her house looking through her mail. It's very weird. So I opened my mom's safe just on instinct, right? My mom had this safe since I was, like, a kid. And we all used to put our jewelry in there. So everything was always kept a certain way. She had like a Tupperware box with all the jewelry, and then like she had these Ziploc bags filled very neatly stacked, like our birth certificates or whatever, passports, whatever there was in there. It was all stacked in little individual bags. And then like she had the bags folded around, like it was all neat. I opened this thing up and it's a fucking mess. So right away I'm like, all right, something's not right. And my mom always told me for the last couple of years, I said this in my last video, she thought my brother was the executor of her will, right? I had never looked at my parents' will before. My mom and dad always said, if anything happens to us, our wills are in the safe. What kid wants to look at their parents' will? Like, that kind of shit creeps me out. So I go in and I'm going through the papers and I'm like, holy shit, this must be their wills, right? So I open up the papers, it's like big thick documents, right? I'm reading through. The first time in my life I ever saw this, they had like power of attorney, they had healthcare proxy, and all this other shit. It was written October 1996. So that was like how many years ago? I don't even know. I'm so bad at math. Over 20 years ago. My brother was in high school and I was in junior high probably. My mom sued her doctor back when her kidneys failed for negligence, and they settled out of court, and she got like a nice little settlement. So I guess when that happened, that's when they wrote their wills, because it was around that time, 1996. That's when she got her settlement. So I'm ready to see my brother's name on there, that he's the executor. Nope. My Aunt Betty and my Aunt Debbie are the executors on my mom's will. I had to read this shit like 10 times because I'm like, there's no way. It's not my brother. Like, why does my mom think that my brother is the executor? At the time when they got these wills written, my brother was still a minor. Because legally you can't name a minor an executor. So maybe there's somewhere in the language of the will, because it's like 10 pages long, that says that if my brother is not, of age yet, it's my aunt's. But no, it's just my aunt's. Me and my brother have 50-50 share of everything, but it's my aunt's as the executor. I was kind of relieved, to be honest with you guys, in a way, because I was like, all right, at least it's my aunt's. And at that point in time, I felt like, all right, we had this little fight with these letters, but they'll still do the right thing. But I'm just like shocked. And I'm telling you guys, my mom told every fucking person she knew that my brother was the executor and that he had to get her off. To the point where after she died, me and my husband were eating dinner one night at this place, and I run into this guy that used to work in the warehouse in the back at my mom's job, right? And he's like, oh, so did your mom get your brother off the will? I'm like, how do you know about it? Like, she told you? Like, she told everybody. Everybody. You don't know how many people know this story. This is mind-blowing, but whatever. I fold all the papers back up. I'm just about to close the safe. And I look down, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot a piece of paper. I picked the paper up. Wait a second. PC Richard air conditioner. I'm like, that's so weird. I'm like, we just got a Frigidaire air conditioner. And all of a sudden I look at the date, and it's the fucking receipt from the air conditioner that me and my husband just bought and installed. How the fuck did it get in my mom's safe in the papers with the will? I left that thing on her kitchen counter the day we installed the thing, which was like the first day she was in the hospital. We went and got the air conditioner. I left the receipt on the counter, on the kitchen counter near her Keurig coffee maker. How the fuck is it in my old bedroom mixed in with her will? Anybody? Right there was my proof that my brother was going through my mom's shit. And now I'm like, what the fuck are these assholes doing? Do I tell my mom or do I not? Like, what do I do with this information? Why are they in her fucking personal business, dude? These people who haven't done shit the whole time she was sick. Now all of a sudden you're going through her fucking personal financial papers and her will and her mail. You can find out a lot about a person through their mail. You could tell how much debt they're in. You could tell what kind of loans they have, what kind of credit cards they have out there. Those motherfuckers were tallying up their inheritance. That's what they were doing that day. But they lied and said that they were going to do laundry. I knew something was up when my brother called me. He hasn't called me. Why are you calling me all of a sudden? Trying to find out where I'm going to be. Because you're a sneaky motherfucker, that's why. And you're a piece of shit. And I'm done fucking hiding your secrets. I held this in for so long, you guys don't understand. And this isn't even the worst of it. It gets worse. So I went to the hospital that day. And I'm like, Mom. Dude, oh. What they did to her face that day, I had to tell her. How do you not tell somebody that? So I went in the hospital, and I will never forget her laying in the bed, and I walked in, and I was standing next to the radiator. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I'm like, Mom, I gotta tell you something. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, remember when we went to your house that day? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, I said, they went through more than just your mail and everything. And she's like, what'd they go through? I forgot exactly what I told her. And I said that, you know, they went through your safe. I said I found the receipt, and I told her the whole story. And she, like, the look on my mom's face that day, like, she was so disappointed in my brother. She did not feel comfortable with his wife going through her shit. How do you violate somebody's privacy like that while they're in the hospital? Like, it's one thing if my brother wants to do it, but don't fucking lie, dude. I understand wanting to know, okay? My mom was terminally ill. She was sick. We didn't know she was terminal at that point, or at least I didn't. Maybe they did. I didn't know that at that point. But I knew it wasn't good. I knew what was going on wasn't good. Why did you lie? And, like, the way they went about it was so sneaky that I don't trust them now. I was done with them at this point. I was like, Mom, I'm sorry. I have no respect for him. My mom was ready to call my brother up and start screaming. And I'm like, whoa. Don't start a fight. Just see what they do. Maybe they just were curious and they just wanted to look. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I was fucking fuming. Like, fuming inside. Ready to go drive over to this bitch's house and beat the fucking piss out of her. You don't go through your mother-in-law's fucking shit like that, you fucking asshole. How do you even feel comfortable opening my mom's mail up, let alone opening her safe up? So I don't know, they could have taken shit out of her safe. I don't know. And my mom's face that day, the disappointment that my brother lied to her and, like, misled her, saying that they're going to go over there and do laundry under the guise that they give a shit about her, but really it was about them, is what makes me so fucking angry. Ugh. Alright, I'm going to stop this one here because it gets worse after this. It gets way worse after this.